Welcome to the La Salette Shrine here in Enfield. I am your host, Elizabeth D'Orazio, and we're here in the International Nativity exhibit where I'm actually visited by the director of the La Salette Shrine, Father René Butler. And we're here to talk about what happens when the Christmas lights go out and all the decorations get put away. What happens year-round in this chosen valley? So, Father, I want to thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And how did the missionaries of La Salette actually choose Enfield and end up here in our area?
Way back in 1927, there were lots and lots of French Canadians living in New England, and many of whom didn't speak English. And so those La Salette missionaries, who were also of Canadian background, felt it was important to train priests who would be able to speak French to minister to the French-speaking population. And so they started searching for a place. And Father Chouinard was his name. He came to know that the Shakers had moved out of Enfield to Canterbury in 1921 or 2. And so he approached them, and they settled on a price. The Shakers were very pleased to know that it was going to be another religious group.
Right, and I think that's something beautiful about the stories.
Right,
it would always be a
right.
beautiful area of peace.
That's right, yeah. Chosen Vale is what the Shakers called it, and it makes sense because it is. It's a unique spot, it really is. Then, so then they had the seminary, but at that time we bought the entire almost all the entire land owned by the Shakers, which is over 1,000 acres. And so you had, it was very self-contained. They did their own farming, they had a dairy farm, they raised pigs and so on, all to keep the seminary going, you know, so they provided most of their own food. And there was a large staff. We had a lot of brothers, because the La Salettes are priests and brothers. We live the same life, the same vows, but they have different responsibilities. And the brothers mostly did the manual work. And the other ones who did all the farming and the slaughtering and so on and so forth, you know, and that was, so there was a large staff. And what is now the Shaker Museum, just down the road from here, was the main seminary building. And there was a lady named Mary Keene who was a great benefactor. And in fact, the chapel that's next to the museum is called the Mary Keene Chapel because she's the one who donated the funds for it. And so the seminary was founded in 1927. It was a high school and college level seminary. Then eventually the college moved somewhere else and it was high school. Then the high school seminaries, not just ours, they almost all closed in the 1970s. And so then they put on their thinking caps and started using the buildings for other purposes. They had some chalets that they had built that people would come and rent. They did a lot of potato farming and they brought in, it was almost like a commune at one point of people who chose to live here and do the share in the work.
What would you say the message of the La Salette missionary is? What is the charism of La Salette?
The buzzword, if you like, is reconciliation.
Reconciliation.
Wherever there's a need for reconciliation, that's where we want to be. And that can be on a one-to-one basis, such as in the sacrament of confession, or it can be with groups. Many of the talks that we give are reconciliation-oriented.
And all are welcome.
All are welcome.
Any denomination. I think one of the things I remember most as a child is coming here in the spring and walking the grounds, which are gorgeous without the lights, and the beautiful Rosary Walk, and then the Walk of Heroes with Dorothy Day, and Martin Luther King is back there, and always a sense of peace came here.
That's right.
So really, reconciliation.
Very much, and we've had any number of people tell us they came here for a visit, whatever, and then they returned to the practice of their faith, not necessarily Catholic, but it touches people in a very special way.
Well, and I want to thank you, Father Butler, and I would encourage you as you come into the new year, if you'd like to experience some peace, to come here to the Chosen Valley, to the La Salette Shrine, and the La Salette missionaries, and see if you can find peace here in the gift that they offer. Thank you very much.